Alexis, we've talked about before in terms of cracking down on social media companies, Section 230, that has really been the focus of many lawmakers previously, those like Josh Hawley, who has said that needs to be revoked. How is the executive order that President Trump signed different in terms of how it goes after social media companies?
Yeah, and Akiko, we saw today also President Trump calling for revoking Section 230 that you're talking about altogether. That's part of the Communications Decency Act that was adopted in 1996. And basically what it does, the whole purpose of its enaction was to let platforms, online platforms like Google, like Facebook, like Twitter, let them restrict user content to a certain extent without the fear of liability, primarily for defamation type lawsuits. Now, you have to think about blocking are things like obscene, lewd, violent, harassing type nature, content blocking. But the blocking that they are allowed to do, it comes with a catch. Any restriction of the content, it has to be done in good faith. And that is exactly the language, because it's ambiguous in the statute as it's been written. It has been interpreted by courts across the country. This executive order that Trump has signed is going after that language, trying to redefine, giving the FCC authority to really redefine what good faith is, or what bad faith is, if you want to look at it that way. So really expanding the idea of what bad faith might be. And Trump calls for a re-examination by the FCC to look at content blocking that it considers to be biased, and to take that, and that way, the more action any online platform might take to block content, the more opportunity that they would open themselves up to this liability that they've been protected from since that section of the act has been adopted. So, but in terms of trying to get this to be effective and affect these technology companies, these online platforms, until these agencies that are called upon in the order to do something about it, to do this reinterpretation, nothing really happens. It kind of lays dormant until there's a challenge. And certainly there are a lot of different parties that could challenge it. But right now, until they do something and actually cause a party harm, there's little to be done really at this point about it.
Yeah, Alexis, we were talking about this with Dan Hellie yesterday, who said essentially, look, you can expect these tech companies to be drawing up a lawsuit right now if, in fact, it moves forward as the president says. We don't know that yet, but I'm wondering, is this something that you expect to play out in the courts? And if so, how do the legal arguments hold?
Yeah, so the legal arguments don't look good here. Twitter itself has a right, as do the other online platforms. They have their own First Amendment right to free speech. And really what this executive order tries to do is it tries to take away that right for them to respond to something that they want to respond to on their private platforms. Now, a lot of argument that it's a public platform, that it's a public square. That's one of the things, the thrust of this executive order that it tries to implement. But look, not really likely to stand legal muster wherever the challenge comes from, whether it's the online social platforms themselves, whether it's a private party that says they've been harmed. Not looking good, because any attempt by a government to limit speech is going to come under just a mountain of case law and a very clear First Amendment policy on this issue, not going to pass legal muster most likely.
Okay, Alexis, walking us through the legal hurdles this is likely to face. Appreciate you joining us today.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.